Action.
Hey, we watched a movie that was pretty fantastic about Keanu Reeves killing people in a secret society. So
you want to know more about 21 Pilots? I can
Wasn't
probably
there
answer
that
that. I thought it was going to be more, but I can understand it. It's a good one. But at the same time, I highly recommend Futurama.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Classy Nerd Talk. My name is Austin Circulator, and my buddy Titan.
Paul Williams here. Hey, folks.
Paul. So, we watched John Wick Chapter 2.
Awesome movie.
I showed Paul John Wick Chapter 1, it's about 2 months ago now.
Yeah, between a month, 2 months,
Yeah, he never watched the film, so I was like, hey,
Knew it by name.
Kind of the thing is, with Keanu Reeves is that person that's like, whoa. He doesn't, he hasn't left that spotlight like Bill and Ted in The Matrix. And I think this is the movie that brought Keanu Reeves to who he is now.
I'm not sure if I would say that. I mean, because for a long time he was known from Bill and Ted. He's like, hey, look at this geek over here, And he started doing other roles. I mean, granted, he's always done roles like Johnny Mnemonic and stuff. But man, when he did Matrix, everybody was like, wow, that's a revelation. But yeah, once he hit this, I'll tell you, before we talk about him killing everybody, when you showed me that first movie, because I'm like, is there a story? And you kind of laughed at me and said, well, maybe a little. And I thought, well, actually, there is kind of a story to it. And, I said, well, I don't like a lot of blood and violence and that kind of stuff. And I thought it was actually tastefully done.
Yeah. It didn't, what I liked about the first one was it was done well. It didn't, follow a lot of, action movie cliches.
True.
It was just more of a beautiful shot thing. And then when you come to find out that actually the people that made these movies were stuntmen for Keanu Reeves for years.
Yes. And they worked with him for a long time, and they're like, hey, we're writing a movie for you. And he was, what was the article I was reading? So he's like, hey, I don't care what it takes. I just want to get this movie made for you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was really, the first movie we really loved. But we didn't know how the second movie was going to be because, you left off on that. And the thing is with sequels is, it's really hard to do a sequel from a really good movie. And especially an action film. We had some pretty bad bombs like Expendables and let's not even talk about all that other stuff. Stop.
My friend Stallone? He made bad movies? No, I'm calling and telling him that.
Yeah, okay, good.
Wow.
Well, if you have his personal number.
I might, but that's another story.
Okay, so moving on to this, we walked in actually a couple weeks later than when the movie came out.
True. Well, that was because of work obligations, and you were so busy too with work, and I couldn't find the day off, and gaming was going with us and that kind of stuff. And we even had last minute people jump on board for the ride down, so that was funny.
So it was fun. But got in there, and I would have to say, it's really good. It's
it's like, what did I post on Facebook? I mean, it opens in with I don't know, I forgot how to say something about
a car chase.
A fast ride, and then the end of the movie smacks you with a boom right in the chest. And I'll tell you what, folks, if you don't know about Marcus Theaters and you're in Ohio, you better go to them because the seating is fabulous and the sound will knock you back.
Well, we go to the Tuesdays, and they have a $5 Tuesdays at Marcus, and that's perfect. You can go to the Ultra Screen for $5, and then you get a popcorn if you're a member for $4. So you can't beat that theater. That theater is one of the best. But the sound quality was so powerful. I remember the shot at the end when he shoots the guy. It was you could feel it.
I was just waiting to see what happens, and I'm like, oh, is it going to happen? And it's just a big old thump. I thought, wow, one of the best parts of the movie, actually. Because it really, you're just not really sure, But hey, free advertising for Marcus, but we love that theater.
Okay, so moving on to that, if you haven't watched any of John Wick, I don't recommend you watch this review because we're going to spoil a little bit because,
tell me that.
Well, the first John Wick, not the second John Wick. So the first John Wick, it starts off as Keanu Reeves is this person that is grieving from his wife that has died of cancer, and she leaves him a dog.
Very sad.
And he has this, what year was the Mustang? I think it was a
67 probably.
67, 69, I don't know. But he leaves it, and the guy that plays Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones, he decides that him and his Russian buddies are going to steal this car. And they end up beating him and then killing his dog that his dead wife has left him. And, that's pretty rough. The next scene we see is like, you know, the auto mechanic guy, like, you know, he goes to like take the car in to chop it, and he's like, "Where'd you get this car?" He's like, "Well, I got it from this," and he's like, Get that car out of here," you know, like, you know, that's what I loved about that movie, because you didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Get out of here," you know. That's it.
And through both movies, you always have somebody saying,
Baba
"Who's
Diego.
John Wick?"
Well, they always keep on saying Baba Diego, which means the boogeyman.
Yeah, true. But they're always like, "Who is John Wick?"
Yeah. Who?
You know, and that's actually what, you know, everybody in the theater was saying, "Who's John Wick?" So, you know, and I had no clue, and then I kept asking Austin, "Who's John Wick?" And he's like, I was like, "Was these comics that I missed, or was this a story I missed somewhere?" He's like, "Nope, it was a story made up and it had no other bearing," and boom, there it was.
Yeah. So overall, what it is you find out that John Wick is a very dangerous assassin, and he's actually one of the best, and people fear him because how he got out of the assassin cult type deal, he had to do something very impossible they talk about, but they never reveal what it is. So hopefully we get a prequel to that. That'd be amazing. I'd love to see the impossible task.
Yeah.
But what happens is he ends up, you know, going after the person that killed his dog, and, you know, it runs in this whole line of this, and then at the end he gets a new dog, and, you know, that's where it ends.
Yeah.
Well, the second one comes up, and it kind of... Do you notice that the film kind of was just like, hey, this... it didn't start off where it was like 2 years later.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
just more like
stuff.
Last week.
I was going to say, it was
Next
either,
week.
I'm not even sure it was that long. It could have been 2 days
2
later.
days, yeah.
I mean, because if you notice, and when you watch these, and hopefully you've seen the first John Wick, he goes to bed at night. He gets up the next day. He might move a little slow, get out of bed, but I wouldn't mess with him. One night's sleep's all that man needs.
Yeah, I would have to say, but then it leads up to, like, you know, he wanted his car. That's what he really wanted. But some of the key points, so we're not spoiling completely. What it is John Wick is, in the second one, it's a movie about where he used someone's, I'm trying to think, like, power or their, like...
Influence.
Yeah, their influence.
Influence, money, something to get
help
out
him.
of the business.
Yeah,
because
to
he
get out of
fell in
business.
love, and then that was all taken away from him. In the first movie, his wife died. They killed the dog, took the car, and this led him on the path, even though he didn't think so, led him on the path back into the assassination field.
Yeah. So I think, and then what it was the guy that, you know, has helped him. There's this thing called a mark, and it's where he puts his blood mark, and it shows, hey, you know, you owe me.
Yeah, it's a marker.
So that money, he comes to collect his due, and John doesn't want to do it. And what that means is, if you don't do the mark, he's free for open season, pretty much.
Well, you know, that's the thing too, and it's kind of odd. And I don't know if in the assassination community, if they actually know people and took some real stuff from this or not. I don't know anybody in that field, so I couldn't say. However, you know, we see stuff in movies all the time. The thing in here, I kind of wonder, because there's multiple ways you can screw up, and guess what? All the other assassins are going to kill you. And I was just kind of like, wow, that's kind of interesting take on that, because if I do this, everything's cool. But if I slip up and do this, or I violate some of the rules, guess what? They're going to meet me somewhere, and everybody's going to pop me in the head, and that's it. So even again, like you said, you see that happen in the first movie. They talk about that, and then this one too. You know, it's like, hey, if you don't take the mark, you know what's going to happen.
Well, you know, we're not gonna spoil anything from chapter 2, but it turns into a very roller coaster ride of just John Wick defending himself against things. I'm not going to tell you what happens or anything like that, but I will touch on some key things that I loved about this film. The film is still directed the same way that it was in the first one, but you can tell that they have more money now with it. They have more feel, more power to it. They know what they're doing. They know what they want. They're just like, here, this is the movie we really wanted to make.
Yeah.
And we got the money for it. And people actually like it. It's sitting at, like, I think a 90-some% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, you know, you shouldn't really trust some Rotten Tomatoes, but, because, look, Ghostbusters was 76.
Yeah, we're not going to go there.
But
don't take us down those other roads. Bill Murray, we still like it.
But I will say there is one scene that it sounds so corny, but I loved it, was the subway scene. You know the part where like the other assassin was up on top of the ledge and John.
Oh, when they were walking through, popping at each other. Kind of like when you're in school shooting spit wads at the other kids in class, hoping not to get caught.
Except this time,
that's
you die.
pretty. Yeah, well, you would die. But this, I think, actually, and I think the scene, where the whole scene was designed so they would play that out like that. I don't think they actually wanted to shoot either one there. I think they wanted to play, let's play a little tag, play something. I don't know, but it just was so funny. And I'll tell you what. And that's the thing I liked, because I'm going in this movie thinking, all right, we've seen what happened in the first one. We know what's going to happen here, or we think we know. And the biggest thing is, I'm thinking, all right, the first one had a little bit of a story. You could see why he was doing it. Now it's just revenge. And at least that's what I was thinking going into the movie. And it still has its own story as well. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to just think, hey, all he's doing is running the gun in the whole movie. Now, granted, that kind of does happen.
It's an action film, people.
It is. But... It's an enjoyable one.
I also like the humor. The humor
that's
lots
in the
of
film.
Humor. Lots of humor, but it's like the Marvel movies lately. It's just they put the right humor in the movie.
Well, it was there were several funny parts of the movie, and there were some people a couple rows up. I didn't think they were going to stop laughing. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to turn around and say, hey, look, guys, it wasn't that funny.
Yeah, because the one guy's like,
oh my gosh. Early on, it was funny. The couple next to us had to turn around to the people behind us and said, hey, could you be quiet? We're trying to watch this thing.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But, you have that. Your first thing you want to do is turn off your cell phone, that kind of stuff. Because when you're getting into the movie and those parts come up, you don't want a cell phone going off. You don't want somebody in front of you flashing that light in your eyes. And you're like, oh, crap, I just missed what happened. And it was always going to be something exciting.
Well, yeah, and the thing was it was a huge roller coaster ride. I love the action that was in this film. The cars were amazing.
Oh,
the silent assassin girl. I really love the silent assassin girl.
The deaf girl.
Yeah, she was really cool. The humor
Very
between
unique.
both assassins, like with John Wick, where he's like, "This is a professional courtesy," and
Oh,
then later on
yeah.
he's like, "This is a professional courtesy."
Yeah, I'm letting you live if you're careful. Otherwise, you're going to kill yourself.
But overall, the movie was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. Now, the only problem I do have with the film
Here we go. No, nothing. Trust me.
The mirror room.
The mirror room? Oh, because they've done that too often in movies?
It's just more like it was... They put that in there just for show, and I get it. And it's a movie, and you're supposed to be entertained. But it kind of drug through a little bit more than I wanted it to.
Well, I think maybe Keanu Reeves or whoever watched The Matrix like that. Because wasn't there a room that they had to go through had mirrors too at one point, just briefly or something?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm thinking another movie.
I haven't watched The Matrix in a long time, so
yeah. Because I know there's been 2 or 3 movies over the years that I've seen that, and you're kind of like, yeah, they got to find a bad guy. And then I could be thinking back to the 80s or 90s too. I don't know, but I just know there's several movies that they do that in. Maybe they thought, hey, it hasn't been done for a while. We'll go ahead and put a mirror room in there.
But overall, the movie was great, fantastic. There is really good parts in that mirror room. I'm not gonna lie, but the thing was that was the only thing. And also, what's cool is the ending, because the ending's leading up to a third John Wick.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
And it was so cool watching the end, because the whole end is like this climactic thing, and he's like, and then something happens, and then it just makes it even better.
Well, one spoiler here: at the end, John Wick realizes something. He's like, in his mind, he's like, oh crap, and he starts running.
Yes, him and his dog start running because he realizes that that's the only way he can do that.
Hey, slow down there. You almost gave it away.
Well, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Oh,
Listen,
no, I didn't. Look,
that was close.
Don't even start.
Well, I'm going to have to take a drink on that one.
Spock dies. That's the spoiler.
Oh, don't do that to me. That's wrong. That's just evil, mean.
But overall,
I like that anymore.
I think John Wick, out of 10, I would have to rate it a 9.5.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Easy.
Just because the thing is there's a little things that I had problems with, but
a couple
I still
cliche
love
things.
that movie. I walked down that movie and I was like, it's over. It's over. And we can't get it on DVD until I don't know when, but it's...
And I'll tell you what, I want to throw one more thing back in there. When you talk about that professional courtesy, after the big scene in the beginning, and I think this is before even the title comes up, he lets somebody live. And I think he's done the same thing, because you'll find out that he knows that if he has the opportunity to kill somebody and he lets them live, or gives them the opportunity to save themselves, that he can come back later and say, hey, I need a favor. I need your help. And it's played so well in this movie. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking in the next movie, we're going to see a couple people come back that he's going to need help with.
Yeah, and I think so too.
Because we had that in the first one.
You know,
one of his friends tried to help him with the
biggest
sniper.
thing in the film is you have two Matrix characters from that film being in that film. Lawrence Fishburne, who played Morpheus in the Matrix, and we have Keanu Reeves, who played Neo. And they're finally on screen again, and they do great together.
Absolutely. It was a fantastic moment, because when we saw him, we're like, oh, yes. And just the way they were together and the way they acted with each other, it was like, wow. It's almost like, I mean, great, they're great actors, but it was almost like, hey, they were still doing the Matrix. They were still, like they never left the set, per se. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was. Yeah,
so, John Wick, Chapter 2, I give it a thumbs up.
I give it 2.
Oh, well, yeah,
and I'm not a violent guy.
I give it a 2. But overall, I would recommend this film. Highly recommend it. It is a rated R film, so...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, walk into that as, what I would expect all the murder that's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
But overall, really
and
like
there's
the
some
film.
surprising twists in there, too.
True.
And there's something he has to do just because he has to do it with that one scene with that lady. He has no choice.
Stop it.
It's not
Stop
sex.
It.
But I'm just saying.
You're revealing too much. They need to know the whole
Well,
truth
I'm just
of John
making
Wick.
sure that they understand what he does at the end of that scene is something he had to do. He didn't have a choice.
Okay. But, I think it's a good movie. What'd you guys think? Did you guys watch John Wick Chapter 2? Like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Also,
Yes.
too, is we're going to be doing some more movie reviews. My buddy Titan's going to be doing some reviews and podcasts with me. So, remember, if you owe someone a blood oath, you better be dang well living up to that and killing that person.
No pricks on my thumb, so I'm good. I don't owe him anything.
So, everyone, have a good day.